If you read detective stories, like most of us do, you've heard of Scotland Yard, down on the embankment just by Westminster Bridge. And you've got a pretty lurid picture of what goes on there. Well, life isn't really lurid at the Yard. It's just plain, hard, routine work. That's what gets results. Plain, hard work. I ought to know. I do some of it. I'm in the flying squad, a detective sergeant. This is Owen, my partner in crime. We usually work in pairs. And we take along a wireless operator and a driver. Our boss is the chief inspector responsible for the flying squad.
Have you done anything in that Chiswick job, John?
Yes, sir. I'm seeing a man at Hammersmith now.
Good. I'm going Hackney way. If you want me, send a message out, will you?
The PC on the beat doesn't lose much time in a case like this. A few brief particulars is all he wants. Then he dials 999 and gets through to Information Room, New Scotland Yard. Here, an officer takes down the essential details. A description of the van, its index number, its contents, in this case 30 chests of tea. Property of the Ministry of Food, approximate value £375, and the fact that the van was last seen moving southwards from Mexborough Road with 2 men aboard. Within a minute or so, this information is wirelessed in code to all police cars in the district. And that's where we came into the picture. The wireless operator in a police car listens all the time and takes down any messages that concern him. When this one came through, we were not far away, so the Chiswick inquiry had to wait. We turned round and made for the nearest main road junction. I reckoned that the van would have to pass here if it continued traveling south. No luck, though. Not a sign of BYT-18. The next thing was to take a look round the back streets. I felt pretty sure we'd find the van abandoned somewhere not far away. If they're old hands, the thieves know we'll have its number in a matter of minutes. So usually in a job like this, they have another van waiting and transfer the stolen goods as quickly as possible. Try Redbury Place. I left Owen in charge and went to make a couple of phone calls, one for a towing vehicle, the other to the local police station at Hammersmith. A CID sergeant there was already on the job.
Righto, John. Your van's been found in Redbury Place. Empty.
Empty? Cool.
Now, this paper man, you say he saw them drive off. Is he a little fellow with a cap?
That's right.
I know him. Oh, we'll need your prints. Don't worry. You see, they're only for comparison. We might find fingerprints on the van. You don't mind, do you?
No go.
Well, you look after them, Bob, and I'll go around to Redbury Place and have a word with John.
Right. Come this way, please.
When he joined us at Redbury Place, the towing vehicle was already there. A special gadget is fixed to the steering wheel of a stolen car so that the police driver doesn't spoil any possible fingerprints.
Right, there's nothing more I can do here, Paddy. We'll get back to the yard with the van.
Well, thanks very much, John. I'll have a word with the old paper boy and phone you later. So long.
Sure.
No, I didn't see the driver, but I think I know the other bloke again.
You would? Well, what was he like?
Oh, ordinary sort of a bloke.
Big fellow?
Oh, not very.
Small chap?
No, just an ordinary sort of bloke. Got a cap on his head.
Anything about his face?
Oh, I can't say.
But you think you'd know him again. Why?
Blessed if I know.
As soon as the van turned up at the yard, it was examined for fingerprints. Dusting powder is brushed on the likeliest places, and even faint impressions show up quite clearly. Several impressions were photographed, and any that didn't belong to the van driver or his mate were sent to the single fingerprint department. The best of these was selected and checked against the collection under that particular finger. No two fingerprints are alike, and even a small section of one finger is sufficient for identification, so it wasn't as long a job as it sounds. Sure enough, they found a likely one. But to make absolutely sure, the print from the van and the one from our records are projected together on an epidiascope. This makes it easy to compare the characteristics. In this case, both prints were obviously made by the same finger. That gave us the identity of one of the wanted men, Thomas Hobbs, one previous conviction. But identifying the other was still giving us a headache.
You know, I'm still puzzled. There must be something about this fellow for you to say that you know him again.
Well, I think I'd know him again.
You say he's not a smart-looking fellow?
No?
Not like a clerk or a shop assistant?
No, more like a boxer.
A boxer? What makes you say that?
I don't know. Yes, I do. God, I don't know how I came to forget. He'd a funny sort of nose. Flat-like.
A broken nose?
Yes, that's right, Governor. I knew there was something.
What time did you say you've got to be back? 3:30? Well, look. What about coming along to the yard and having a look at some photographs?
Oh, I don't mind, Governor.
CO, please.
CO stands for Commissioner's Office. In other words, Scotland Yard. Here, the Criminal Record Office accepted the paper seller's new piece of information. The man we wanted had a broken nose. That gave them two facts to go on. He was a van thief with a broken nose. In the Criminal Record Office, there are files of all convicted criminals, classified according to types of crime and physical peculiarities. This system is known as Method Index. It's only a matter of minutes to pick out the cards of all the likely customers with known records. The next step is to get out the particular volumes with their photographs. This is what's generally called the rogues gallery. There are two pictures of each man, full face and side face. This is explained to the witness, but the officer in charge takes no further part. The paper seller didn't take long to spot the man he'd seen drive away in the van. The officer took the reference number from the back of the photograph. There are no names. And that gave us the identity of number 2, Charles Ellis, 6 previous convictions. So it was up to me to find them with the Hammersmith sergeant's help.
That Chiswick inquiry's held up again.
We'll never get that finished the way it's going on.
We'll get no peace from the governor until it is. Hello, Paddy. Any luck?
Yes, I've got 2 idents on that job. The old paper boy's identified one and the other's on prints.
Ellis. Alias Handsome, I suppose. Don't know him. Last address, Stepney.
Yes, used to be in the fight game.
Who's this one? Thomas Hobbs, Shepherd's Bush. Well, that's on your ground.
Yes, I'm going there straight away.
What's happened to the old paper boy?
Bob's taken him back in the car.
Well, we'll shoot over to Stepney and see old Chris. He's sure to know Ellis with that face.
Glad if you would, John, and I'll send out an AS message about these 2 monkeys.
Right.
An AS message means a message to all stations sent out by teleprinter. A full description of the men is given and the crime they're wanted for. This goes to every police station and all patrolling cars, and it's then in order for any police officer to make the arrests. Lights on an indicator show that each station has received the message.
Ellis. That him?
That's the chap.
We know him as Jack Ellis. Bit of a scrapper. Haven't seen him for ages.
Last address we've got is 121 Hare Street.
121 Hare Street. You're unlucky. That end was badly blitzed a long time ago.
Well, men like Charlie Ellis don't usually change their haunts or their habits, so we decided to have a wander round to see if we could pick up anything about him.
Thank you, sir.
Right. Cheers.
Sure.
Hello, Governor.
Hello, Wally. How long you been home?
Oh, a couple of months.
Wasn't too bad, was it?
No, Governor. I saw you come in and I thought I'd like to thank you for what you said in court.
Oh, that's all right. You can have a drink.
No, thanks. Was you looking for anyone in particular?
You know a chap called Charlie Ellis?
I know Jack Ellis. Lives in Morton Street, 43 or 45. It's his mother's house.
Good evening. Is Jack in?
The old man or the boy?
Oh, young Jack.
Oh, no. He's gone to the social club.
Where's that?
Just up the road, number 74.
Thank you.
Ellis? Yes, he's here. There he is over there, playing cards. The one with his back to you.
Right. I'm sorry. Thought you were someone else.
That's all right.
After that letdown, we packed it up for the day and went to McNaughton House, one of the new police section houses where Owen lives. He was a bit sarcastic about the day's work, but you have to take plenty of that in our job.
And he was sitting down with his back towards us. So John walked up to him, tapped him on the shoulder, and when he turned round, he's got a dead straight nose. Not our man at all.
It's time you packed it up, John.
Yes, you're getting much too old. Why don't you put in your papers?
Now, don't you start, Peter. I've had enough from them.
No, it was funny. We were looking for Charlie Ellis. You know, that tea job today.
Charlie Ellis? Is he in trouble again?
Why, do you know him?
Yes, I saw him only a fortnight ago.
Where was that, then?
Down Mile End Way. He was playing snooker at the time.
Snooker. Didn't know he could play snooker. Any good?
Fair, but there was one chap with him who was really first class. He could give you a licking on.
Where was this place, then?
At the back of the London Hospital.
Morning, Owen. Anything fresh?
Yes, Paddy phoned. He saw Hobbs's missus last night, but Hobbs hasn't been home for 3 weeks. Paddy says he doesn't blame him either.
Oh, it's like that, is it?
Oh, and here's something. It seems he's a great snooker player. Spends all his time in billiard halls.
I wonder whether that's the chap Peter was talking about last night.
That's what I thought.
Looks as if we're going to see a lot of snooker today, doesn't it?
First of all, we went to the billiard hall Peter told us about at the back of the hospital. It was fairly busy. These places always do seem to be fairly busy. And there was quite a little collection of the boys who don't have to work at regular jobs. We looked them all over and drew a blank. So off we went to the next place. This looked like being a long job. We only knew our two birds from their photographs. Charlie Ellis was a pug with a broken nose, but broken noses aren't so rare down Mile End Way. We saw quite a few. As for Tom Hobbs, slight, small moustache, and a good snooker player. That was a useful pointer.
Snooker, Joe?
No.
Well, what you waiting for, then?
He wants Tom Hobbs to show him how to play that one.
He gave him a big idea last night.
Who? Tom Hobbs?
Yeah. Oh, hard luck.
Tom still live up Brick Lane?
No, he's up at Charlie Ellis's place. Shot.
Well, that's up Brick Lane, isn't it?
What? No, Tyndall Street.
We took them to Hammersmith and put Charlie Ellis up for identification. An identification parade is a very strict affair. The uniform branch are in charge and the CID only look on. The suspect can stand anywhere in the line. Only men who look something like him take part. The witness waits in another room until everything is ready. The paper seller was brought in and the inspector in charge told him to walk down the line and point out the man he saw getting into the van, if he recognized him. Then the party broke up, and Charlie went off with the jailer.
You are charged with being concerned together in stealing from an unattended motor van at Mexborough Road 30 chests of tea, valued together £375.
£375? Blimey, I ain't going to stand for that way. The dirty rotten...
Wait a minute. Wait until I finish what I've got to say, and then you can say what you want. The property of the Ministry of Food. Now, on that charge, you'll both be detained. Do you wish to say anything in answer to the charge? You're not obliged to say anything unless you wish to do so. But whatever you say will be taken down in writing and may be given in evidence.
Would it make any difference if I told you where the stuff is? You see, he promised us 50 quid and all we got was 20 after we put the stuff in this place.
Can't advise you about that, Charlie. It's entirely a matter for you.
All right, I'll make a statement.
All right. We got the one bit of information we needed from Charlie's statement, the name and address of the receiver of the stolen tea. The statement said the tea was in the garage, so we checked on that first. You can't be too careful when someone else is involved in a statement of this kind. Again, if he'd moved it, it would have made things more difficult for us. However, it was still there. Good evening. Mr. Harvey in?
What's it about?
We're police officers. We'd like to see him.
I'm not sure.
What do they want?
We're police officers. We're making inquiries about a quantity of stolen tea. We understand you bought a large quantity yesterday.
Tea? Yesterday? Not me. I've got a cafe in the city and I keep a small stock here. But I've had it for months.
May we see it?
Certainly, it's in the garage. Bought it last January. Come, I'll show you. There you are.
I counted the chests. There were some missing, and I noticed that the numbers had been painted out. The paint was quite dry, too.
I've had this stuff for ages. I bought it last Christmas, must have been. I always keep a stock here because I've very little room in the cafe.
I rummaged around for a bit to see if I could find that pot of paint. Well, Mr. Harvey, I thought, how are you going to talk your way out of this lot? 18 chests there.
Well, what of it?
Well, who painted out the marks?
Marks? What marks? It's just as I bought them. Haven't been touched since, as far as I know.
Well, where did you get them? Have you got an invoice for them?
Yes, but I don't quite know where it is. It's a long time, you know. Oh, it's probably in my desk in the cafe.
Oh. We've reason to believe that's part of a van load stolen at Hammersmith yesterday. We're going to arrest you. You've no need to say anything unless you wish, but anything you do say will be taken down in writing and may be given in evidence. We sent one of the chests to the police laboratory at Hendon for analysis. They tested the paint in the pot and on the chest, and were able to prove in court that these were identical.
I then removed the paint marks by chemical treatment, and the numbers on the tea chest were revealed.
Harvey knew if we got the numbers, we could prove it was these chests that had been stolen from the van, so I wasn't surprised at what followed.
Your Worship, my client now asks to be allowed to plead guilty.
Very well, if he wishes to.
And I do feel, Your Worship, that Hobbs was led into this by the other two. and that his part in the matter was a minor one. He's had a great deal of domestic trouble recently. His late employer is present in court and would like to speak on his behalf, if your worship pleases.
What happened in that tea case, John?
More or less what we expected, sir. 9 months to the receiver. Ellis got 6.
And the bind over for the other fella?
Yes, sir. Felt rather sorry for him. Had a lot of trouble.
It was a neat little job, you two. Now, away you go on that Chiswick inquiry, will you?
We're on it now, sir.